Shut up and sit down.
I'm Alex Veltrates, and this is the PreWatch Thoughts for War for the Planet of the Apes. So, if you watched my video on Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, then you can reasonably expect me to be excited about War for the Planet of the Apes. However, I'm always worried about being disappointed, so my excitement is tempered by this worry. It seems that only the people who played the apes are back in War for the Planet of the Apes, because the apes are the only beings anyone cares about in these movies. So that's fine, but a peek at the cast comes with a major spoiler. I won't say it here out of respect to those viewers who haven't seen it yet, but it does bring up some questions and is not outside the realm of possibility. Woody Harrelson also makes an appearance in this movie, and it seems he is the main human antagonist. I like Harrelson. I think he's an underrated actor. For example, have you seen Zombieland? And let's not hold the Hunger Games or the Now You See Me movies against him. Anyone else upset that the second Now You See Me movie wasn't called Now You Don't? Anyone else upset either of those movies were ever made? I do love him in Kingpin and heard that Defender was great. I also saw snippets of The Cowboy Way when I was a kid and just remember him holding his hat over his naked junk and then lifting his hand from the hat, but the hat staying in place. I think of that moment at random times. I may not think of it for months, and maybe someone mentions a cowboy hat, and there it is again, popping into my head. But his part in War for the Planet of the Apes looks cartoony every time I see the pictures or trailers. I don't expect his performance here to be stellar. It reminds me of Matthew McConaughey's character in Reign of Fire, and not just because they're both bald. Matt Reeves returned to direct War for the Planet of the Apes, and since he did a really good job on Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, I'm pretty happy about that. Silver and Jaffa did not contribute directly to the script of this sequel, and since their work on the first two movies was impressive, I find this a little distressing. Reeves, however, helped write this sequel, so that's good. Mark Baumbach is also back as one of the writers, and since Dawn of the Planet of the Apes was my favorite so far, I'm glad for it. Some people can't stand the Apes movies. The whole concept is off-putting to them because it sounds stupid. It enters the realm of super geekdom. I can see that, but I feel like this more recent franchise has put a great deal of thought into ape behavior and nonverbal communication, and because of that, we end up with movies that show instead of tell. Something that is sorely missing from a lot of movies these days. Showing doesn't necessarily mean not talking. It just means the exposition happens more naturally and communication between characters isn't so on the nose. The narration of the theatrical release of Blade Runner is a good example of telling the audience. It's true that you don't want the audience to feel left out of the story, but that includes making the story too overt as well as making it too obtuse, because overtness can disengage a viewer from a movie or any narrative. There is a balance to be struck in storytelling that involves audience engagement, allowing them to figure some things out for themselves, and clear story depiction, preventing the story from not making sense. I felt like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes pretty much hit this on the head. I'll be interested to see if War for the Planet of the Apes can do it as well. This is the PostView review for War for the Planet of the Apes. This movie is way less focused than Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. There will be some spoilers for Dawn of the Planet of the Apes in here, so watch out. If you haven't seen it, press pause on this video and go watch it. It is amazing. Comparatively, War for the Planet of the Apes is a letdown. It is the worst of the three films in this franchise, and after coming off the high that is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, that makes this mediocre film all the more disappointing. I still love Maurice's characterization in this franchise. War for the Planet of the Apes continued the great portrayal of him. His character is the most stable and likable in the franchise. Bad Ape was a good addition. Of the apes, he has the biggest grasp of English. Steve Zahn is great as Bad Ape. He manages to balance comedy, tragedy, and realism very well in this part. This film, if nothing else, is a testament of Zahn's skills as an actor. Yes, he's funny, but he can go deeper. While watching Red Donkey, I kept feeling a sense of recognition, like I knew him. When I looked at the cast a second time and saw that it was Ty Olsson, it all made sense. I love Ty Olsson, who is quite possibly the most cast person in TV right now. He played 2 different characters in Supernatural, both of whom were vampires. He's also extremely tall. Every time I see Ty Olsson's name in a cast list, I get excited because he is always great. And while I've never met him, it always feels like seeing an old friend again. Reliable, awesome Ty. Glad to see you again, even if you are covered in CGI. In general, the acting is great, especially from the mocap actors. These guys are so professional and so good at what they do. Sometimes they're more expressive than any of the human characters. Since the beginning of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, the main characters, the ones we care the most about, are the apes. I'm glad that the emotional force and skill is still with them. And of course, the effects of the apes are still amazing. Just look at their hair! When we left Caesar and the rest of the apes, the humans and apes were about to go to war. Now we come back in this movie, 2 years later, I might add. What exactly were the humans that Gary Oldman called doing in that time? Not coming to attack the apes, and instead we get a war between 2 different groups of humans. That's not what I signed on for. We got more ape versus human action in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Not that kind of action. Calm yourselves, furries. I remember being immediately worried when the movie opened with reading. I got even more worried when the movie then followed that up with a group of human soldiers. Remember how much I raved about the start of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes? The start of the War for the Planet of the Apes is completely off. Not only that, but we don't actually know what the 2 groups really want. In Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, motivations were clear. The apes wanted to be left alone. The humans wanted power from the damn dam. Simple. Everyone had clear motivations. But in War for the Planet of the apes want to move, which Caesar said wouldn't work at the end of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Caesar wants to kill the colonel, and Bad Ape wants to find his son. And the humans want to destroy the apes, kill Caesar, make the apes build a wall, kill the infected, dominate the other humans, then kill all the apes. Whew. What? What the hell? Dawn of the Planet of the Apes was about trying to find peace despite differences and opposition. War for the Planet of the Apes is about internment camps? I still don't really know. The plot of this movie is a mess. It's driven by a need to get places, both narratively and physically, instead of a dynamic interplay of differing motivations. The Colonel also felt like a cliche, as so many military commanding officers appear in Hollywood. Oh, he's a jerk and descending into madness. Well, that's not new. That's not at all complex. Harrelson does his best, but it's a bad role. I also felt like making 2 important gorillas distinct by making them colors that are unusual for gorillas was a bit of an easy way out. As I said in my review of Dawn of the Planet of the apes were distinctive despite sometimes being the same species. So I'm not sure why they made Red Donkey brown and Winter an albino. Did other people complain that they weren't distinct enough? The problem with doing this isn't just that it feels lazy, but also because with their roles in the narrative, it presents this idea that those who are different are more susceptible to moral failing. I mean, it could be argued that Koba supports this theme as well, but Koba's physical differences are a result of action. His physical abuse warped him both physically and emotionally. It biased him. But Red Donkey and Winter were born looking as they do. Koba represents how the world can destroy a person. Red Donkey and Winter, it could be said, represent how being different can be a failing. That's an issue to me. It's not a great theme. Whether or not they meant intentionally to have that be a theme, it's still there for the audience to interpret. Now it's time to talk spoilers, so jump ahead to get my rating. The idea that Caesar had to choose to kill in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes was very clear and important, and they almost pulled off the idea that Caesar had to choose not to kill in War for the Planet of the Apes. If he hadn't then killed what looked like thousands of people. Oh, he's a good enough person not to kill this one guy who murdered most of his family when he sees that he's no longer a threat. Forget justice and restitution, but killing these faceless people? That's fine. It's fine! I understand why he killed all those people, but it undercuts the point of decision. I will say this, I think Caesar has killed the most people since the simian flu. Like father, like son, I guess, since Will invented the drug that created the simian flu. I know they are making more movies with this narrative, but I question where they will go since Caesar is now dead. Blue Eyes is dead too, so are they going to follow Cornelius now? I guess I could kind of see that. Again, Reeves ends the movie on a shot that's a bit much. As much as I love paintings, these directors that feel the need to make a shot into an oil painting need to stop. They are two different mediums, and what is beautiful and poignant in one is overt and stupid in the other. War for the Planet of the Apes is the worst of the three in this franchise. They've said they're making more, but I'm not sure how that's going to shake out. Due to my need to avoid spoilers, I won't say why, but I feel that more sequels will be on unstable ground. War for the Planet of the Apes has too many problems and not enough going for it for me to give it a good score. That's why it sits at a mediocre 6 out of 10. Watch it if you're a fan, but it's just not as good as the previous ones. War for the Planet of the Apes. Disappointments abound. This was PostView Review, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share, subscribe, click that bell, leave a comment below, visit my blog at empatheticwriter.wordpress.com, and follow me on Patreon for exclusive content and a shout out on a video. Merch, 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 merch. Yeah. Check out my new shop at cafepress.com/AlexofAllTrades for all kinds of products with my face on them.